Okay, today we are going to go over this great article that was just sent to me by one of our clients from CMS Wire. It's called 7 Tips for Selecting the Right SEO Agency. So obviously the title piqued our interest over here at Surchability. But I thought they made some great points, so I would thought we would go over kind of my thoughts on it. So anyway, in the beginning, they're talking about, search has never been more important. Obviously, with the pandemic, that, people have become really good at researching things, all different things. So it's kind of like burned into our psyche now to become researchers and investigators and knowledge seekers. And that plays right into the strengths of organic search, right? So they go to Google, and if you're there, then great. So that 100% agree with that. So for the first element here is SEO agencies need to deliver for the long game, right? So that I couldn't agree with that more. It's a red flag to us if we're talking to a potential client and they immediately start asking, how fast can you rank us for this, or how fast can I see results, or what can we do, it's been a week. Why aren't we number one for stuff? Now, obviously, the counter to that is you're investing money, and a lot of times a pretty good amount of money, and obviously you want to see return on your investment as soon as possible. So that's we're not saying that you shouldn't want to know those things, but if that is your main objective and you don't have the long game in mind, then you're going to be frustrated as the client. The SEO agency is going to be frustrated because you have kind of unrealistic expectations, and nobody wins, and then everybody just is angry, and it's terrible. So we found the best successes with clients understand that SEO and really organic search is sort of meant to kind of, we say, like, keep the lights on, right? It's always going to be there. It's always producing leads and organic traffic and everything like that. It's not like pay-per-click where, depending on how much money you're throwing at it, your results are going to vary potentially drastically, right? As soon as you stop paying for ads, all your traffic goes away. If you want to get more traffic, you have to pay more money, right? So SEO is not kind of like an overnight thing, but it is the most stable, consistent source of traffic and source of leads that you can possibly do. But the trade-off is it doesn't happen overnight. The next thing is SEO agencies must understand your business. That obviously goes without saying. Now, I would be untruthful if I didn't say most SEO strategies work no matter what industry you're in. Google is Google. Content is content. Backlinks are backlinks, like that kind of thing. But really understand your business goes a lot of different ways. Search intent is a big thing. But then even like in the weeds, like they mentioned here, if you have a really wide content gap, right? So you're really behind the 8 ball compared to your competitors as far as like what kind of content you have. For instance, Surchability can crank out really, really good content really, really fast, and we can do it like a lot of it all in one go. But that needs approval. That needs to be vetted from the client. That make sure that the brand voice is correct. Make sure that we're communicating everything that aligns with kind of the brand focus and all that kind of stuff. Well, that creates a bottleneck because you can't give a client 25 pieces of content and say, hey, proofread this and like let's go and post it on let's go. So that's a problem. So we have to understand your business. We have to understand where the bottlenecks possibly are. What can we do as an agency to help you alleviate your potential bottlenecks? What is the typical bandwidth issue, as they say. So an SEO agency has to be able to work within the confines of what is realistic and what is not realistic for the client. Just as much as you need to be realistic about your expectations as a client, the agency needs to be realistic about what you could possibly do. And then, for searchability, we always try to take as much off of your plate as possible. But even with us, doing that, there are still times where, it's just, it is what it is. So we have to be empathetic to, the marketing department or the business and what they can do on their end. Search tactics need to connect to objectives. So again, like I just said, there are a million different strategies we can do. I can get you from point A to point B, but do you even want to get to point B, right? So we have to figure out what our goals are, and then either apply strategies or invent new strategies to get you to, where you want to go. You try to systematize things as much as possible, but everything is different based off the client, where you are, in relation to your competitors. Where do what does Google even think about your website? There's a whole bunch of different moving parts that come into play here. And then at the end of the day, what are you trying to do? Like, I can, bring you a ton of traffic, but if it's not the right traffic, like, who cares? So there's a lot of things that come into play where you pull into your bag of tricks and strategies based off of whatever it is the client is, wishing to accomplish. I always tell clients, hey, you come at this from a business perspective. I'm going to come at it from a nerd perspective, and we're going to meet in the middle, and everybody will be happy. Is the SEO agency keeping up with the times? So here at Surchability, if you ever go to our About Us page, you know that we actually sell against this big time, because I would say 90% of agencies continue to just do the stuff that has always worked. They have, like a checklist that they do every month or whenever, and they have no idea what's going on with new up and coming things. We read Google patents. We are always testing things. We build websites specifically to just test stuff out. You really have to stay on top of this, and that even goes with trying to bring SEO in-house, having an in-house team. They're not really, whoever's in that SEO in-house team is not really motivated to really do anything outside of the box, really, test the boundaries of what you can do and what's, just little things that you can try to, get ahead, right? So the agency has to always be on top of things. Like, what are you testing right now? What are some of what's the newest thing that you've come up with or discovered, or what are the trends that you see are happening right now? Those kind of questions is what you should be asking when you're talking to agencies. We always kid around that we'll text message a client at 2 o'clock in the morning when we have finally, finalized a new strategy that we dreamt up. And some of our greatest strategies that we use over and over and over and over again were just byproducts of us, like, basically screwing around and trying to figure out, I wonder what would happen if we do this or that. So that's the only way that you could do this the right way, because Google's changing every day. There's a billion other websites that are also competing for what you're competing for, and they're trying things. So it's to stay the king of the hill, you got to always continue to reinvent yourself. And then finally, or second to last rather, is the agency capable of technical SEO services. So that, for us, that goes without saying. So making sure your website is technically sound, as fast as it could possibly be. The user experience is really good. We always say you try to build your website like a casino, so it's really easy to get in and really hard to get out. We want that Google spider to get to the website and go all over the place. That's kind of like the baseline. Like, you really shouldn't be talking about keywords or content or rankings or backlink. Like, you shouldn't talk about any of that kind of stuff until you have the most solid, well-optimized home base that you could possibly have. Before you move forward. So if an agency can't do that, then a web development company is not SEO focused, right? So they don't really care about Google core metrics or anything like that. So your SEO agency definitely needs to, at the very minimum, be an incredible liaison between them and the web development company. In the perfect world, they would be able to do it themselves. Be wary of guarantees for search rank. Yes, that back in the day, that you used to actually be able to give guarantees about 10 years ago. You could say, oh yeah, I'll get you number one in 30 days for this keyword or whatever. But those days are long gone. They were awesome. That was an awesome time for people like us, but that doesn't work anymore. So anybody that can guarantee you rankings, either one, there's going to be for like incredibly low competition keywords that no one's going to be high-fiving over that you rank for them, or they're going to be like super shady stuff that goes on behind the scenes that may increase your rank for a bit of time and then it's terrible. So going back to the long game thing, the results will come if you have a sound strategy, and obviously all things considered, everything's in order. But yeah, to guarantee results should be an absolute red flag. It's a red flag for us when a client, potential client actually asks for that. We turn them down because we just know that they're not the right client for us. So it should be the same way. If an agency guarantees rankings, you should run to the hills from them. So and then it says, in conclusion, finding the right fit is challenging. It 100% is. We have never marketed our services ever. We've been in business for 12 plus years, and we are almost 100% referral based for this reason. It's hard to find the right agency. It's hard to find the right mix of people that understand your business and that are actually super smart at SEO. And it's one of the reasons why that's all we do at Surchability. We're never going to be an all in marketing shop. All the things that we do is really just only solely geared towards helping increase organic traffic. We're never going to do pay-per-click. We don't do social media. We don't do any of that kind of stuff. We'd rather be incredibly awesome at one thing. But then we also know that we have to be, like I said earlier, empathetic to the client's unique situation. So it is very hard to find a good agency. There are countless stories in the graveyard of snake oil salesmen, whatever you want to call it, SEO shops. A lot of clients said, "Oh yeah, I did SEO in the past and it stunk," or "I wasted 12 months of monthly payments and I don't even know what I got for it," and all those kinds of things. I'm sure you're familiar with that. So do your due diligence. These are definitely 7 things that are really great for like high level items to keep in mind when you're thinking about an agency. So all that said, thanks for watching this video, reading this blog post, whatever version this is going to be. And if you would like to speak to somebody about SEO or organic search that actually knows what they're talking about, and hopefully by this video you can tell kind of our personality at Surchability, please fill out the contact form and we'd be more than happy to chat with you. Thanks.